Have you ever wondered why some foreigners manage to build amazing relationships with Filipinas, while others find themselves in complicated situations? The truth is, there is one common mistake that can turn a promising romance into a big problem. Many foreigners do not fully understand the cultural and emotional differences that exist when dating a Filipina. They assume that what works in their country will also work in the Philippines, but this is not always the case. One of the biggest misunderstandings is about expectations in relationships. In many Western countries, relationships are often built on a foundation of independence. People are expected to take care of themselves, and love is seen as a partnership between two individuals who maintain their own personal space and freedom. However, in the Philippines, relationships tend to be more family-oriented and emotionally connected. A Filipina does not only think about her own happiness, but also considers the well-being of her family. This is a key difference that many foreigners fail to recognize. Filipinas are raised in a culture where family is the most important thing in life. It is common for them to financially support their parents and siblings, even after they get married. This is not because they are taking advantage of their partner, but because it is their responsibility. A foreigner who does not understand this may feel pressured or even think that his partner is using him for money. In reality, this is simply how love and duty work in Filipino culture. Another common mistake that foreigners make is not understanding the emotional depth of Filipinas. Many Western men are used to a more direct and logical way of thinking. They believe that if there is a problem, it should be solved quickly and efficiently. However, Filipinas tend to be more sensitive and emotional. They do not just want a solution to a problem. They want to feel understood and cared for. If a foreigner dismisses a Filipina's feelings or tries to solve everything too quickly, she may feel neglected or unappreciated. Communication is another area where many foreigners struggle. The Philippines is an English-speaking country, but that does not mean there are no communication barriers. Filipinas often use indirect communication, especially when discussing difficult topics. Instead of saying, "I am upset with you," a Filipina might say something like, "It's okay, I understand," even when she is actually feeling hurt. A foreigner who is not familiar with this indirect style of communication may believe that everything is fine when, in reality, problems are building up. Another major challenge is the concept of haya, or shame. In Filipino culture, people avoid confrontation and embarrassment at all costs. A Filipina may not tell her partner directly if she is unhappy because she does not want to create conflict. Instead, she may become distant or passive-aggressive. A foreigner who does not recognize these subtle signs might think she is simply losing interest, when in fact, she is struggling with emotions that she does not know how to express openly. One of the most dangerous mistakes that foreigners make is rushing into a relationship too quickly. Many foreigners arrive in the Philippines and fall in love almost instantly. Filipinas are kind, caring, and affectionate, which can be very attractive to foreign men who may not be used to this level of warmth and attention. However, not every Filipina is looking for a long-term relationship, and some are only interested in the financial security that a foreign partner can provide. A foreigner who does not take the time to truly get to know his partner may end up in a one-sided relationship where love is not the real foundation. On the other hand, some foreigners become too suspicious and refuse to trust their Filipina partners. They assume that every Filipina is only interested in money, which is unfair. While there are certainly women who take advantage of foreigners, the vast majority of Filipinas are honest and loving. A foreigner who enters a relationship with too much doubt and suspicion may push away a genuine partner who truly cares for him. Trust is essential, and without it, even the strongest relationships will fail. Another mistake that can ruin a relationship is failing to understand the importance of respect. In the Philippines, respect is a core value in every aspect of life, especially in relationships. A Filipina expects her partner to treat her with kindness and consideration. Public arguments, raising one's voice, or showing frustration can be seen as disrespectful. Even small things like speaking rudely to a waiter or not greeting elders properly can make a Filipina feel uncomfortable. A foreigner who does not adapt to these cultural expectations may unintentionally offend his partner and her family. Many foreigners also fail to realize the importance of religion in Filipino culture. The Philippines is a predominantly Catholic country, and religion plays a major role in daily life. Many Filipinas attend church regularly and value faith in their relationships. A foreigner who dismisses religion as unimportant may struggle to connect with his partner on a deeper level. While not every Filipina expects her partner to be religious, she will likely appreciate someone who respects her beliefs. One of the biggest mistakes that can lead to heartbreak is taking advantage of a Filipina's kindness. Filipinas are naturally giving and selfless, often going out of their way to make their partner happy. Some foreigners take this for granted, assuming that their Filipina will always be there to support them no matter what. However, just like anyone else, a Filipina wants to feel loved and appreciated. If a foreigner constantly takes without giving back, his partner may eventually feel unappreciated and leave. Foreigners who succeed in building strong relationships with Filipinas are those who take the time to learn and understand the culture. They do not assume that what works in their country will work in the Philippines. Instead, they adapt and respect the differences. They communicate openly, show genuine care, and build trust over time. They also understand that love in the Philippines is not just about two people. It often involves the entire family. In conclusion, the most common mistake that foreigners make when dating Filipinas is not understanding the cultural and emotional differences. Many enter relationships with unrealistic expectations, fail to communicate effectively, or rush into commitments too quickly. Others make the mistake of being too suspicious or not showing enough respect. The key to a successful relationship with a Filipina is patience, understanding, and a willingness to adapt. Those who take the time to truly connect with their partner, respect her values, and build trust will find themselves in a loving and fulfilling relationship. However, those who ignore these important aspects may find themselves facing disappointment and heartbreak. Everything starts perfectly. You arrive in the Philippines, meet an amazing woman, and quickly feel like you have found the right person. The warmth, the attention, and the welcoming culture make everything seem like a dream. She is sweet, caring, and always makes you feel special. She texts you often, asks how your day is, and seems genuinely interested in you. Whether you are in the country for a short visit or planning to stay longer, it feels like you are experiencing something truly special. It is easy to believe that you have found the ideal relationship, one that is full of love, affection, and happiness. But then, over time, small signs start to appear. At first, you ignore them because everything still feels great. Maybe she becomes a little more distant, or she starts asking for small favors that seem harmless. Perhaps she suddenly changes the way she talks about the future, or she seems upset about something but does not tell you directly. These little things may not seem important at first, so you brush them off. After all, every relationship has ups and downs, right? However, these signs continue to grow, and soon they become harder to ignore. You notice that she gets upset over things that do not make sense to you. Maybe she suddenly gives you the silent treatment, but when you ask, "What is wrong?" she just says, "Nothing, I'm okay." Yet you can feel that something is not right. She starts to mention problems at home more often. Maybe her mother is sick, her younger brother needs school fees, or there is some financial difficulty in the family. She does not ask for help directly, but you feel like she is expecting something from you. This is when many foreigners start to feel confused. You ask yourself, is she with me because she loves me, or does she see me as a provider? It is an uncomfortable question, but one that many foreigners in the Philippines eventually face. In some cases, this fear is completely unnecessary. Many Filipinas truly love their partners and have no interest in financial support. However, in other cases, the relationship is built on a foundation that is not as strong as you initially believed. The problem is that many foreigners wait too long to address these concerns, and by the time they realize what is happening, they are already deeply involved, emotionally, financially, or both. One of the biggest mistakes foreigners make is ignoring these small signs until they become serious problems. When you are in love, it is easy to make excuses for things that do not feel right. If she gets upset easily, you tell yourself that she is just emotional. If she starts to become less affectionate, you convince yourself that she is just stressed. If money slowly becomes a topic in your conversations, you assure yourself that she is not asking for anything, just sharing her struggles with you. But the reality is that ignoring these signs can lead to situations that are difficult to escape from later. A common issue in many relationships between foreigners and Filipinas is the cultural difference in how love is expressed and what is expected in a relationship. In many Western countries, relationships are built on independence. Each person is responsible for their own finances, their own decisions, and their own happiness. However, in the Philippines, love often comes with responsibility, not just to the partner, but to the family as well. It is common for Filipinas to support their parents, siblings, and even extended relatives. For them, family comes first, and a partner is expected to understand and respect this duty. Many foreigners misunderstand this and feel pressured when financial expectations become part of the relationship. Some believe they are being taken advantage of, while others accept it without question, only to later realize that they are constantly giving without receiving much in return. This leads to frustration, resentment, and, in many cases, a painful breakup. The key is balance, understanding the cultural expectation without allowing yourself to be used. A healthy relationship should never feel like an obligation or a financial burden. Another major issue that foreigners ignore is the way Filipinas communicate their feelings. In Western cultures, people are more direct. If there is a problem, it is discussed openly. If someone is upset, they say it. But in the Philippines, confrontation is often avoided. Filipinas, especially those who were raised in traditional households, may not express their frustrations openly. Instead, they show it through their actions, becoming distant, giving the silent treatment, or saying things indirectly. This can be confusing for foreigners who are used to a more straightforward way of communicating. Many foreigners ignore these signs, thinking that if she is not directly complaining, then there is no problem. But in reality, the unspoken issues continue to grow until they explode. By the time a foreigner realizes that something is wrong, it is often too late to fix it. A Filipina who feels unappreciated, neglected, or unhappy may not express her feelings clearly, but she may already be considering leaving the relationship. This is why it is important to be attentive to changes in behavior, rather than just listening to words. Jealousy is another issue that many foreigners overlook. Filipinas can be very loving and devoted, but at the same time, jealousy can be a big problem in relationships. Even small interactions with other women, like being friendly to a waitress or liking a photo on social media, can sometimes cause misunderstandings. A Filipina may not always say that she is jealous, but her behavior will change. She may become cold, moody, or distant. If a foreigner does not recognize this and continues acting the same way, the jealousy can grow into a bigger problem, leading to unnecessary arguments and emotional distance. Many foreigners also ignore the importance of respect in Filipino culture. In the Philippines, respect is everything, not just in relationships, but in all aspects of life. This means respecting your partner's family, her traditions, and even her beliefs. Something as simple as being polite to her parents or showing interest in her culture can mean a lot to her. On the other hand, failing to show respect, whether by being rude in public, criticizing Filipino culture, or ignoring family traditions, can slowly push a Filipina away. Some foreigners enter relationships with the mindset that their way of doing things is the right way. They assume that because they come from a more developed country, their perspective is superior. But relationships are not about one person changing the other. It is about understanding and adapting to each other. A foreigner who ignores cultural differences and expects his Filipina to think and act like a Western woman will eventually face problems. In the end, the biggest mistake foreigners make is ignoring these early warning signs. Every failed relationship has signs before it falls apart. The problem is that many foreigners choose to ignore them because they do not want to believe that something is wrong. They hold on to the dream of a perfect romance, even when reality is showing them that something is not right. The key to a successful relationship with a Filipina is awareness. Pay attention to the little things, the changes in behavior, the way she communicates, the expectations she has. Do not assume that love is enough to solve every problem. Love is important, but so is understanding, communication, and respect. If you are in a relationship with a Filipina, ask yourself, are you truly understanding her culture, her emotions, and her expectations? Are you paying attention to the small signs, or are you ignoring them? Relationships are not just about love. They are about connection, understanding, and mutual respect. Those who take the time to truly understand their Filipina partner will experience a deep and fulfilling love. But those who ignore the warning signs may find themselves in a relationship that is not as perfect as it once seemed. Why does this happen? Simple. In the excitement of the moment, many foreigners get carried away by the affection and attention they receive. They assume commitments too quickly: marriage, financial support, moving in together, without truly thinking about the consequences. It seems like a logical choice. After all, who wouldn't want to feel loved and valued? But this rush can be a big mistake. At first, everything feels perfect. The Filipina is sweet, caring, and always makes you feel special. She checks on you constantly, sends you thoughtful messages, and makes you feel like the most important person in her life. If you have been through difficult relationships in the past, this level of attention can feel overwhelming in the best way. It is easy to believe that you have found something rare and beautiful, a love that is stronger and more sincere than anything you have experienced before. Because of this, many foreigners make impulsive decisions. Some propose marriage after just a few months. Others start financially supporting their Filipina partner without setting clear boundaries. Some even decide to move in together almost immediately, believing that love will be enough to make things work. In the moment, these choices seem right. The connection feels real, the love seems deep, and there is a strong desire to build a future together. But what they fail to realize is that rushing into these commitments can create serious problems later on. One of the biggest risks of moving too fast is not truly knowing the person you are with. When a relationship is new, both partners are still on their best behavior. They show only their good sides, avoiding difficult conversations or personal flaws that might cause conflict. It takes time to truly understand someone's character, their values, and how they handle challenges. By rushing into marriage, financial commitments, or living together, a foreigner skips the natural process of getting to know their partner. This can lead to surprises later, some of them unpleasant. A common issue is when a foreigner realizes too late that his Filipina has different expectations for the relationship. In many Western cultures, relationships are often based on individual independence. Both partners contribute equally, and personal space is respected. However, in the Philippines, relationships tend to be more interconnected with family responsibilities. A Filipina does not just think about her own needs. She also considers her parents, siblings, and sometimes even extended relatives. Many foreigners do not fully understand this before committing, and when financial expectations begin to appear, they feel trapped. For example, a foreigner might move in with his Filipina, expecting a simple life together, only to find that her family frequently visits or even stays with them. In some cases, the expectation of financial support for the family slowly increases over time. At first, it might be small things, helping with groceries, covering a phone bill, or assisting with a medical expense. But over time, these requests can grow, and if the foreigner is not prepared, he may start to feel like more of a provider than a partner. The problem is not that all Filipinas are after financial support. Many genuinely love their partners and expect nothing more than a happy life together. However, when a relationship moves too fast, it is difficult to see the difference between genuine love and a relationship built on financial security. A foreigner who rushes into commitments before fully understanding his partner's true motivations may later realize that his love was not as mutual as he thought. Another danger of rushing into a relationship is the emotional dependency that can develop. Many foreigners feel lonely before coming to the Philippines. They may have struggled with relationships in their home country, felt unappreciated, or simply longed for companionship. When they arrive in the Philippines and receive the warmth and affection of a Filipina, it feels like everything they have been missing. This emotional high can be powerful, leading them to make big decisions quickly. Decisions that are driven more by emotion than by logic. This is why many foreigners agree to marriage too soon. In the Philippines, marriage is a serious commitment, and divorce is almost impossible. Many Filipinas dream of marriage as a lifelong bond, and some see it as a way to secure their future. A foreigner who proposes too soon might later realize that he was not truly ready for such a permanent commitment. Worse, if problems arise in the relationship, he may find himself stuck in a situation that is difficult to escape. Financial support is another area where many foreigners move too fast. Some start sending money to their Filipina partner even before they have met in person. Others take on the role of provider too quickly, paying for rent, bills, and family expenses without setting clear boundaries. While generosity is a good thing, it can create an unbalanced dynamic in the relationship. If a Filipina gets used to receiving financial support early on, she may start to see the relationship more as a source of stability than as a romantic partnership. This does not mean that all Filipinas are looking for financial support. Many work hard, have careers, and do not expect anything more than love and respect from their partner. However, when a foreigner offers financial help too quickly, it can create a habit that is difficult to change later. If he suddenly stops providing support, his partner may feel disappointed or even resentful, leading to conflicts that could have been avoided if financial expectations had been discussed openly from the beginning. Another major issue with rushing into relationships is that it does not allow time to build real trust. Trust is not something that happens instantly. It takes time, shared experiences, and overcoming challenges together. When a relationship moves too fast, there is no time to test how strong the foundation really is. A couple may seem happy in the beginning, but when difficulties arise, they may realize that they do not truly know how to support each other. For example, a foreigner who quickly moves in with his Filipina may not realize how she handles stress, financial struggles, or disagreements. It is easy to be loving and affectionate when everything is going well, but real relationships are tested during difficult times. Without enough time to build a deep connection, small issues can turn into big problems, and the relationship can start to break down. The truth is, a strong and lasting relationship takes time. Love should not feel rushed or forced. It should grow naturally. The excitement of a new romance can be powerful, but decisions made in the heat of the moment often lead to regret later. Instead of jumping into marriage, financial support, or living together too soon, it is important to take a step back and really get to know each other. A foreigner who takes his time will be able to see the relationship clearly. He will have the chance to observe how his Filipina treats him, how she communicates, and what her true expectations are. He will be able to build trust slowly, making sure that their love is based on genuine connection rather than on temporary excitement or financial dependency. In the end, the most successful relationships between foreigners and Filipinas are the ones that are built with patience, understanding, and honesty. Rushing into commitments might feel exciting in the beginning, but it often leads to disappointment later. By taking the time to truly know each other, discussing important topics openly, and making decisions with a clear mind, foreigners can build relationships that are not only passionate but also strong and lasting. Love should be a journey, not a race, and those who move too fast often find themselves lost along the way. In the first few months, everything seems perfect. The connection feels strong, the affection is constant, and every moment together feels effortless. It is easy to believe that this relationship is different, that it is built on real love and deep understanding. There are sweet messages throughout the day, warm hugs, and thoughtful gestures that make you feel truly special. The Filipina shows kindness, patience, and a level of care that you may not have experienced before. It feels like you have found someone who truly appreciates and values you. But as time passes, small cracks begin to appear. At first, they seem insignificant, just little things that can be ignored or explained away. Maybe she becomes less affectionate or starts responding to messages more slowly. Perhaps she begins to talk about her family's struggles a little more often, mentioning financial difficulties or unexpected expenses. At first, you do not think much of it. After all, every relationship has ups and downs. But then, these small things start to grow. The warm and lighthearted relationship that once felt so easy suddenly begins to feel like an obligation, full of expectations, frustrations, and unspoken pressures. One of the biggest challenges that start to emerge is cultural differences. In the beginning, these differences may seem charming or even exciting. You enjoy learning about her traditions, trying Filipino food, and experiencing the warmth of her culture. But over time, deeper differences begin to surface. Differences in communication, family expectations, and even in the way love is expressed. In many Western cultures, relationships are built on personal independence. Each partner maintains their own financial stability, personal space, and individual goals. However, in the Philippines, relationships are often deeply connected to family responsibilities. A Filipina does not only think about her own happiness, she also considers the well-being of her parents, siblings, and even extended relatives. If you do not fully understand this cultural aspect, it can create misunderstandings and tensions. You might start to feel like you are not just in a relationship with one person, but with an entire family. Maybe she begins to ask for help with small things, groceries, rent, school fees for a younger sibling. At first, these requests may be occasional, but over time they can become more frequent. If you are not expecting this kind of responsibility, you might start to feel trapped. You wonder if she is with you for love or because of what you can provide. You feel guilty saying no, but at the same time, you start to feel the weight of these expectations. For some foreigners, this realization comes as a shock. In the early stages of the relationship, there were no signs that financial support would be expected. The affection felt genuine, and the connection seemed to be built on emotions rather than material things. But as the relationship progresses, money slowly becomes a factor. It may not always be a direct request. Sometimes it is subtle. A mention of unpaid bills, a story about a family emergency, or a casual comment about struggling with expenses. You start to feel pressure, even if she never directly asks. At the same time, communication challenges begin to appear. In many Western cultures, people are used to direct communication. If there is a problem, it is discussed openly and resolved quickly. But in the Philippines, many people avoid confrontation. A Filipina may not always express her true feelings directly, especially if she is unhappy. Instead, she may become distant, give the silent treatment, or use indirect comments to express frustration. This can be confusing for a foreigner who is used to clear and straightforward discussions. You might notice that she gets upset about things that do not make sense to you. Maybe she becomes moody after you spend time with friends, or she seems irritated when you do not reply to a message right away. When you ask what is wrong, she simply says, "Nothing, I'm okay." But deep down, she is not okay. She is expecting you to understand her feelings without her having to say them out loud. If you do not pick up on these signals, the emotional distance between you starts to grow. Another challenge that emerges is jealousy. Filipinas can be extremely loyal and loving, but they can also be very protective of their relationships. Even small interactions with other women, liking a photo on social media, talking to a waitress, or being friendly with a female coworker, can sometimes cause jealousy. At first, you may find this cute or endearing, but over time, it can turn into a source of stress. You feel like you have to be extra careful with what you say and do to avoid misunderstandings. At this point, the relationship no longer feels as effortless as it once did. What started as something light and joyful now feels like something you must constantly manage. You worry about saying the wrong thing, doing something that might upset her, or not meeting expectations that you did not even know existed. You start to feel like you are walking on eggshells, unsure of what might trigger an argument or an emotional reaction. If you ignore these challenges, they only get worse. The frustration builds up, and small disagreements turn into bigger conflicts. You may start to feel resentment, wondering why the relationship has changed so much from the early days. You might even start questioning your own feelings. Do you still love her, or do you just feel obligated to stay? For many foreigners, this is the breaking point. Some decide to end the relationship, realizing that they rushed into something they were not prepared for. Others stay, hoping that things will go back to the way they were in the beginning. But without real communication and mutual understanding, the problems only continue to grow. The truth is, the early stages of a relationship are always the easiest. The excitement, the newness, and the strong emotions make everything feel perfect. But real relationships are not just about romance and passion. They require understanding, compromise, and patience. When the initial excitement fades, what remains is the true foundation of the relationship. If that foundation is not strong, the relationship will struggle. To avoid these frustrations, it is important to take things slowly. Do not rush into commitments before truly understanding your partner and her expectations. Have honest conversations about finances, family responsibilities, and personal values early on. Pay attention to how she communicates and learn to read between the lines. If issues arise, address them directly rather than ignoring them. A successful relationship with a Filipina is possible, but it requires awareness and effort. Love alone is not enough. There must also be trust, mutual respect, and realistic expectations. Those who take the time to truly understand their partner and build a strong foundation will have a lasting and fulfilling relationship. But those who ignore the warning signs and move too quickly may find themselves feeling trapped in a situation that no longer brings them happiness. And now, you realize that you got involved too quickly, but getting out of this situation is not so simple. There are feelings involved, commitments made, and in some cases, even financial dependence. Many foreigners find themselves stuck in relationships that no longer make sense, but they are afraid to hurt the other person or face the social and emotional consequences of ending things. What once felt like a dream has become a complicated reality, and now, every decision feels heavy. At first, you try to convince yourself that things will improve. You tell yourself that maybe it is just a rough patch, that every couple goes through ups and downs. You remember how perfect everything felt in the beginning, and you hold on to that hope, thinking that if you just try harder, things will go back to how they used to be. You make excuses for the problems, ignoring your own doubts and pushing away the feeling that something is not right. You remind yourself of all the good things, her kindness, the way she cares for you, the love she has shown. But deep down, there is a part of you that knows things have changed. Maybe the affection is not the same anymore. She is still there, still part of your life, but something feels different. The warmth that once felt so natural now seems like an expectation, like something you must maintain to keep the relationship going. Conversations that were once filled with laughter and excitement now feel more like obligations. You catch yourself hesitating before responding to messages, feeling drained instead of excited. The little things that used to make you happy now feel like responsibilities. For some foreigners, the biggest difficulty is the financial aspect. If you have been providing financial support, whether helping with rent, groceries, or family expenses, it becomes even harder to walk away. You worry about what will happen to her if you leave. Will she be okay? Will she struggle? Will her family blame you? This guilt becomes a weight on your shoulders, making you feel responsible for her well-being, even if you are no longer happy in the relationship. You feel trapped between doing what is best for yourself and not wanting to be the bad guy, who walks away and leaves her with nothing. In some cases, there is also social pressure. If you are living in the Philippines, people around you may know about your relationship. Maybe her family and friends have welcomed you as part of their circle, treating you like one of their own. The idea of suddenly leaving can feel overwhelming, not just because of her feelings, but because of how others will react. What will people say? Will they think you used her? Will they see you as just another foreigner who came to the Philippines for fun and then left when things got serious? These thoughts can make you stay longer than you should, fearing judgment and criticism. Emotionally, the idea of breaking up can be exhausting. You know it will be painful, and you are afraid of how she will react. Will she cry? Will she beg you to stay? Will she become angry or distant? The uncertainty of her reaction makes you delay the decision, hoping that maybe somehow the situation will fix itself. But it never does. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The more you hesitate, the deeper you sink into a relationship that no longer feels right. Some foreigners, unable to face the breakup directly, start distancing themselves instead. They become less available, take longer to respond to messages, and try to slowly pull away, hoping that their partner will take the hint and end things first. But this rarely works the way they expect. Many Filipinas, especially those who are deeply committed, will not let go easily. They will fight for the relationship, try to fix what is broken, and do everything they can to keep things together. If they sense that you are pulling away, they may become even more affectionate, making it even harder for you to leave. In some cases, the situation becomes emotionally draining. Arguments start to happen more often, misunderstandings grow, and resentment builds up. The love that once felt so strong turns into frustration, and even small conversations feel like battles. You start to feel like you are losing yourself in the relationship, sacrificing your own happiness just to avoid hurting her. But deep down, you know that staying in a relationship out of guilt or fear is not the right choice for either of you. So, what can you do? The first step is to be honest with yourself. Acknowledge that the relationship is not what it once was, and that forcing it to continue will only lead to more pain in the future. Accept that love is not just about making someone else happy. It is also about your own happiness and emotional well-being. If you are staying only because you feel guilty, afraid, or obligated, then it is not love anymore. It is a burden. Once you have made the decision, the next step is to communicate openly. A breakup should never be sudden or cruel. It should be done with respect, honesty, and kindness. Explain how you feel without blaming or attacking. Let her know that you care about her, but that you cannot continue the relationship if it does not make you happy. Be clear about your decision, but also compassionate. Expect that she may cry, get upset, or ask questions. This is normal. Ending. A relationship is painful for both people. If financial support has been a big part of your relationship, be prepared for a difficult conversation. Some Filipinas may ask for continued support, especially if they have become dependent on your help. You need to decide in advance how you will handle this. Will you offer temporary assistance to help her transition? Will you cut off support completely? Whatever you choose, be firm but fair. Do not allow guilt to make you stay in a situation that no longer serves you. Breaking up is never easy, but staying in a relationship out of fear or obligation is even harder in the long run. It may hurt in the short term, but in time, both of you will be able to move on and find happiness elsewhere. For her, it may mean finding someone who truly wants to be with her. For you, it may mean rediscovering your own happiness and learning from the experience. The most important lesson is to take things slower in the future. Do not rush into commitments before truly understanding your partner and her expectations. Love should never feel like an obligation. It should be something that grows naturally, based on trust, mutual respect, and shared values. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation again, remember that it is always better to be honest early rather than waiting until you feel trapped. Relationships with Filipinas can be beautiful, deep, and meaningful, but they should never be forced. The best relationships are built on love, not on guilt or obligation. If you find yourself in a situation where you are no longer happy, have the courage to face it with honesty. It may not be easy, but in the end, choosing what is right for you will always lead to a better future for both of you. The solution? Never make impulsive decisions at the beginning of a relationship. Enjoy the moment, but stay calm. Give yourself time to truly know the person, understand her intentions, and see if the relationship makes sense in the long run. It is easy to get caught up in the excitement, especially when everything feels perfect in the beginning. But love, no matter how strong it seems, should never be rushed. If you want to avoid the common mistake that many foreigners make, follow this simple rule. Build a real connection before making serious commitments. By doing this, you increase your chances of having a healthy and genuine relationship, one that is based on trust, respect, and true compatibility. In the early stages, everything feels exciting. The Filipina you meet is sweet, affectionate, and makes you feel special. She is attentive, always checking on you, making sure you are comfortable and happy. It feels natural to imagine a future together, to think about what life could be like if you committed to her completely. This feeling is powerful, and for many foreigners, it is different from what they have experienced in relationships before. But this is exactly where caution is necessary. When emotions are high, it is easy to ignore the reality that every relationship needs time to grow. One of the biggest mistakes foreigners make is believing that love at first sight means a relationship is meant to be. The truth is, attraction and affection can be strong in the beginning, but real love takes time to develop. If you rush into a commitment, whether it is marriage, financial support, or moving in together, you risk building a relationship on feelings that have not yet been tested by real challenges. Relationships are easy when everything is new, but the true test of compatibility happens over time, when both people have seen each other's strengths and weaknesses. Taking things slow does not mean you should doubt every relationship. It simply means giving yourself enough time to observe and understand the person you are with. Pay attention to how she treats others, how she handles stress, and what her expectations are for the future. Ask questions about her past relationships, her family dynamics, and her personal goals. These conversations will reveal a lot about whether she is genuinely interested in you or if she is looking for something else, whether that is financial, security, social status, or simply an escape from her current situation. One of the best ways to build a strong connection is through communication. Talk openly about your values, your expectations, and your long-term goals. Many foreigners avoid these conversations because they do not want to ruin the romantic atmosphere. But avoiding these topics in the early stages can lead to bigger problems later. If you find out too late that you and your partner have completely different expectations, it will be much harder to walk away. If you are spending time with a Filipina, observe how she reacts when you say no. This is a simple but powerful test. A healthy relationship should be balanced, with both partners respecting each other's boundaries. If she only shows love and affection when she is receiving something from you, whether it is money, gifts, or constant attention, that is a red flag. A person who truly cares about you will respect your choices and not pressure you into commitments before you are ready. Another important factor is family involvement. In Filipino culture, family is extremely important, and in many cases they play a big role in a relationship. It is normal for a Filipina to be close to her family and want them to be part of her life. However, this can sometimes lead to expectations that a foreigner may not fully understand at first. If a Filipina introduces you to her family too quickly, and they immediately start talking about financial struggles or future plans that involve you, be cautious. It does not always mean they are taking advantage of you, but it does mean you need to carefully evaluate what you are getting into. Taking your time in a relationship also helps you see how your partner reacts when things are not perfect. Relationships start strong but change when real-life difficulties appear. Maybe you have a disagreement, or you need to spend time apart. How does she handle these situations? Does she communicate calmly, or does she become distant and upset? Does she try to understand your point of view, or does she demand that things go her way? These small tests will show you whether your connection is truly strong or just based on the excitement of the moment. Another key to avoiding problems is keeping your personal independence. Many foreigners fall into the trap of becoming too dependent on their Filipina partner for emotional support. They start relying on her for happiness, making her the center of their world too soon. While love and affection are important, a healthy relationship should allow both partners to have their own space, interests, and independence. If you feel that your happiness depends entirely on her, it is a sign that you may be moving too fast. It is also important to protect yourself financially. Many foreigners believe that showing generosity is a way to prove their love. While there is nothing wrong with helping a partner in small ways, offering financial support too soon can create an unhealthy dynamic. It is always better to wait and see if the relationship is built on genuine feelings rather than financial expectations. A relationship should never feel like a transaction. If money becomes a constant topic, take a step back and reconsider where things are going. The strongest relationships are built on mutual effort. If you find that you are always the one giving, whether it is financially, emotionally, or in terms of time and energy, then something is not balanced. Love should feel like a partnership, not a responsibility. A Filipina who truly loves you will want to make you happy, not just receive from you. If she never makes an effort to do small things for you, or if she only shows affection when she wants something, that is a warning sign. The biggest advantage of taking things slow is that it gives you time to see the true nature of the relationship. If the connection is real, it will grow naturally over time. If it is not, the truth will become clear before you make a serious commitment. Many foreigners who rush into relationships later regret not waiting longer to understand their partner better. Some find themselves in marriages they cannot easily escape, while others lose large amounts of money in relationships that were never truly about love. By being patient and allowing the relationship to develop naturally, you give yourself the best chance at finding a partner who truly loves you for who you are, not for what you can provide. Love should never feel rushed or forced. It should be something that builds steadily, with trust, respect, and mutual care. If you follow this simple rule, Build a connection before making serious commitments. You will avoid the most common mistakes that foreigners make when dating in the Philippines. At the end of the day, a healthy and lasting relationship is about more than just attraction and excitement. It is about two people who understand each other, respect each other's boundaries, and genuinely want to build a future together. By taking your time, communicating openly, and setting clear boundaries, you will create the foundation for a relationship that is not just passionate, but also strong, stable, and filled with real love. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced or seen a situation like this? Maybe you know someone who rushed into a relationship too quickly or faced unexpected challenges. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let me know where you're watching from. I'm always curious to see how far our community reaches, and if you found this topic interesting, don't stop here. There's so much more to learn about relationships, culture, and life in the Philippines. On the screen, you'll find more videos packed with eye-opening insights and surprising facts. Click on one now and keep discovering the things most people don't talk about. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.